Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is preparation. And we get to look at different aspects of preparation, physical, mental, emotional preparation, and what that looks like and how it shapes our experience. Good morning, Rosalind. Welcome. Great to be here with you this morning, and welcome to everybody else who's joining us. Before we get started talking about preparation, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of energy and light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together and vigorously rub your hands together to feel all those sensations, the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, and the tickling and tingling when you stop, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're talking about preparation. And the reason we're talking about that is because I leave tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow morning, but then I will be at a workshop. And so there will be replays after tomorrow for the time that I'm gone. But I'm going to a workshop to learn how to build aircrete dome houses and or aircrete domes. So this is something that I have been wanting to do for 5 years. I know I've been talking about it a bit, but I've been doing all kinds of preparation, and I was thinking about how preparation meets expectation meets opportunity. You know, we say that when preparation meets opportunity, that's what we call luck. You know, if you've been making preparations, you know, if you've been honing and refining yourself in anticipation of something, and then the opportunity presents itself, we call that luck. But in terms of preparation, I've been present to, well, so starting in December, the beginning of December, I started going to the gym to prepare myself physically, because I've been, like so many of us, and not that I was ever much of an athlete, but like so many of us during COVID, I really was a couch potato, and I realized that I wasn't really going to be able to pull my weight, so to speak, in this workshop unless I really went and started pulling my weight. Thank you, Rosalind. Rosalind says, I'm excited for you. I am so excited. I am really excited. So that's another thing in terms of preparation, is trying to manage. I know I've been talking a lot about expectations recently, trying to manage my expectations, because I don't really know what to expect. I do expect that it's going to be a remarkable experience. And it is something that I've been interested in for 5 years. And so it's kind of a dream come true. And I don't know what it's going to be like. And so this is kind of facing the unknown, and all kinds of, it's been so fascinating to see what's been coming up for me on a bunch of different levels. And it makes me think about preparation for all of us, to be preparing for something is in a way to be making it even more meaningful, to be presencing yourself to the experience, or expanding the experience, because certainly the preparation is part of the experience itself, right? So I've been going to the gym, I've been collecting things that I will need to support me in this trip, like work gloves and work socks and clothing that would be appropriate for the tasks that we're going to be undertaking, or at least my imagining of what these tasks are, getting masks for particles and protection from that, and putting together all the things that are going to support me. So creating context. We talk a lot about creating context, bringing my body into a better physical capacity, and mentally and emotionally, looking at all kinds of patterns that have arisen for me. And I think that this is fascinating because I see it in my clients a lot, and I'm seeing it in myself, is that this is something that I clearly desire. And I've noticed lots of resistance arising around it in terms of behaviors, which is really interesting. In terms of emotions, just seeing kind of an underlying fear, when we dare to dream, there's the fear that our dreams will be dashed on some level, right? Because we've all experienced that. So the daring to dream and the emotional investment in something can be threatening, because we've had our hopes dashed in the past, that we're afraid, in many cases, we're afraid to get our hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. Why? Because the pain of having those hopes dashed could be unbearable. So it's interesting to recognize that there are, even though it's not my conscious experience, that there are parts of me that have been arising in response to that kind of fear, I think, of what if it's not what I'm imagining? And so there's been a process of allowing myself to be excited, and also to be finding a place of non-attachment, or endeavoring to. And I think that this is also part of preparation, because we prepare for possibilities and eventualities, and some of those things are predictable. And then in all this preparation, we get to let go. And I think that this is very much the same kind of principle or practice that's behind manifesting, where we have our good morning, Bernadette, welcome. It's great to have you here with us this morning. This morning we are talking about preparation, and so I think what happens with manifestation is we set our intention, and we're really clearly laser focused on that intention, and heightened emotional experience around it. And then the trick is to let go, to hold that thing first in tremendous clarity and passionate embrace, and then to release it. And it's in the release that we then allow the universe to work its magic. And it's a very interesting dance between the intended and the unknown, because when we have that intention, when we have that clarity and that passion, and then we release it to the universe often delivers in ways that we would never have anticipated. And better even than our imaginings. So by holding the intention, first we're embracing it passionately, and then we release it and hold it with open hand. And that's when the universe has the capacity. We free ourselves and invite the universe to do its thing. And so that also is part of preparation, I think. It's so interesting to be present to the excitement and the anticipation, and some sense of some anxiety, even, truthfully, because of all the different elements at play. Rosalind says, prepping for something that doesn't happen, like studying sections that aren't asked on the test. That's a really interesting point, Rosalind. Yes, so we can get ourselves crazy over preparation too. You know, that some people feel like they're preparing for the worst and hoping for the best, and I don't think you can actually do both. I think the one, you know, that we cancel out the possibility of the best when we prepare for the worst. Good morning, good evening, Gia. So good to have you here with us this morning. We are talking about preparation, and I think everything in moderation. Can we say that even this preparation thing, clearly you cannot prepare for every eventuality, and there are certain things that are relatively predictable, that or likely, that you can make preparations for. So it's a matter of, do we take it to extremes, or do we find some kind of balance? And I think that's sort of the key here for me, that I've been noticing. There's been a lot of emotional stuff that's come up for me over the past couple weeks in anticipation of this trip. And it's interesting because some of the things have come up are things that seem very unrelated. So Bernadette says, preparing to see my grandchildren on Friday after 6 months. Oh my gosh, Bernadette, good for you. And if there's a way for you to release and like to be there in presence rather than in the past and in the pain of the past of the 6 months in between, if you can allow yourself to just be in the present, that will be such a gift to everyone, you know, to let go of the past, let go of the pain, be there in your fullness, to enjoy that. It'll be so powerful for you and for them. And I just wish you a wonderful, wonderful visit with them. That's such a gift. Good for you. And we want to also just let's send light and love to Jenny. today because she's going through surgery, and she was preparing herself emotionally. Let's be sending her all kinds of love so that it becomes something that has so much more grace than she might have anticipated. Anyway, preparation. So what I was saying is that all kinds of emotional stuff has come up for me that seems unrelated. Bernadette says, I need the break from this present. So maybe the break from this present will allow you to reset, to create this present anew, because all of this is part of this present too. You know, like the being able to see your grandchildren, that's part of this present. Yeah, and so the preparation and the anticipation around that. So, and Rosalind says, sending blessings for ease and restoration for Jenny. And Bernadette says, thinking of you, Jenny, and holding for speedy healing. Yes, all of us are wishing that for her, sending her, seeing her whole and healthy. And so let's just think about this preparation. I was saying that all kinds of emotional things have been coming up for me around, you know, as I've been preparing for this adventure. And it's fascinating to me because it's been like bringing back parts of myself. And in some way, it feels like this upcoming trip is an expression of my authentic self in a way that I haven't really given myself the freedom to express. So it's interesting because what's come up is grief about different things that have happened in my life, and those parts have been being called back. What I've noticed is that in preparation for what feels like a new phase of life for me, that there have been all these completions, all these healings around past wounds and parts that I had either exiled or neglected or sort of cast into the shadows, that these parts have been emerging and calling for some attention and love. And it's so interesting. There's been a lot of grieving, a lot of deep emotion that has resurfaced. And I, although it doesn't look like it's related, you know, superficially, it doesn't look like it has any relationship whatsoever with this trip. I think it does, because this, for me, does symbolize a passage into a new phase of life, a new phase of being. And it's not an isolated step into that new place, but it is part of a movement into a greater expression. Good morning, Robin. So wonderful to have you here with us this morning. Today we're talking about preparation. And so really, I think what I'm talking about is a preparation that so many of us are undergoing, and that's a preparation for our a transformation, a stepping into a greater expression. And it's not that, you know, we prepare and then it happens necessarily all in one step. It can be an ongoing experience, like preparing for greater awakening, moving in that direction. That's what our preparation is doing, is creating a context that is an invitation for whatever that next phase is, or that next level of awareness. We're creating the environment that is conducive to whatever that transformation is. So Rosalind says, I'm taking prerequisite classes leading up to some kind of yoga. The pre-class is in February, and the Arhatic, I never heard of that. I don't know what Arhatic yoga is. The Arhatic session is in March. It does feel like a passage, a stepping stone to a transformation. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about too, Rosalind. So I feel like this is an opening, and on the path of this transformation, there's been a reclaiming and a healing of deeper elements of self, and it doesn't always look related, right? I mean, this is not a yoga retreat that I'm going to. It's not at least superficially, it's not a spiritual kind of adventure. And yet it's deeply symbolic for me of a deeper transformation. And it's been fascinating to be experiencing and witnessing within myself all these aspects that are emerging to be addressed in the context of this upcoming adventure. It's just wild. So Robin says, I pray the Lord goes before and prepares my way so I may be a blessing to someone today. Isn't that beautiful, Robin? I've never heard that before. That's lovely. And I love that sentiment, that may we all be a blessing to someone each day. That's a lovely, lovely, lovely thing. I just had this wonderful wave of gratitude. So Robin says, I'm unable to see the comments. This is self-preparation. Well, I'm reading the comments as they arise, Robin, so at least you get to hear them. I'm sorry you can't see them. Maybe if you refresh the page on Enlightened World Network, maybe you'll be able to see them. I don't know. If you're on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, you should be able to comment and see the comments from there. Otherwise, I don't know why you wouldn't. But talking about preparation, when we focus our intention, I think we have that intention reaches into areas that look like they may not be related, but they are. So I feel like all of this emotional work that has been going on for the past at least month and a half. I mean, I'm always doing work, but it's just gotten so intense over the last month and a half, and feeling that this is sort of a a portal to a new dimension. I imagine you found, oh, good, Robin, I'm glad you can see. So I imagine you found times in your life where things felt more monumental, like where there's a sense of anticipation about, like, knowing that something big is on the horizon, knowing that or feeling the electricity in the air in a way that allows you to recognize that this is not like every other moment. This is not a mundane moment. And maybe that's available to us all the time, and it just takes our heightened awareness to recognize it. I don't know, but I think we can have a conscious experience of being in a point of passage. And it's almost like there's a heightened sensitivity, a heightened sensibility, where there's a greater alertness to what's present around us, where the experience feels more, you can feel the edges. That's the best way that I can describe it right now, where you can feel the edges. And there's something about that says, hey, wake up, pay attention, there's something special going on here. And maybe that alertness, maybe that awareness is the greatest preparation that we can make. The ritual of preparation is creating the context. And so I love magic, and I call magic those wonderful synchronicities that occur with, oh, I love this. Rosalind says the corners of the puzzle laid down. Yes, and but the thing is, though, this is like a 3D puzzle or a 5D puzzle, where we lay down the corners and then there's infinity inside. And yeah, so preparation allows us to experience the magic, I think. And that's the invitation. So may you find magic. May you lay the groundwork for the magic that you most deeply desired. So Gia says, I am totally held up, but listening carefully. Thanks to my AirPods. Trust me, Mira, I needed to hear this. That's awesome, Gia. I hope that it helps. But I think that Gia says, I've been feeling heavy emotions for a few days now. So allow yourself to use those emotions as part of your preparation to move into the next dimension, the next experience, the next awakening. That because I've been going through some pretty intense emotions myself over the past several weeks. And the thing is, you're not your emotions. Recognize them, allow them to arise. They're arising to be healed. They're arising as a call to ask for your attention. They're not who you are, but they're a part of your passage. So with that, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Living. And Rosalind says, continuing to move into our wholeness. That's exactly what it's about. And I just am so grateful for the opportunity to share this time with you. Really, truly, it's such a gift. And that's it for today. So until next time, so much love to you.